What's going on, everybody? Not here. And the last couple of videos I mentioned, I wanted to get back to this. And this is really, instead of focusing on the price of the boxes as we go into release date, I wanted to focus on the actual individual units sold. So I started this all the way back with Stellar and Surging. And I have my data tab here. But so Temporal, and I'm going to go through the individual graphs. So first of all, let's start at 30 days in prior. And I think this tells us a couple different things. So 30 days in prior for release is obviously anything from 31 days in the past all the way back to when TCG Player first listed the item. So I think what's super interesting, we go back to like the dregs of the bear market. Temporal 360 boxes. This includes cases. This includes boxes. Temporal, I don't think included their Mayhem sale in 2024, but Twilight did. 276 boxes, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it would have been, well, it would have been right around the release time because this was the May set from last year. So 276. So you can see Stellar's up to 423. And this period here is really the mindset of why the hell would I pre-order a box? Because it's just going to sit and it's going to be dead money, or it's going to go down. So the mindset of the mindset of people buying these boxes has changed dramatically in this graph. So you move to the September release, which is Stellar. So 423, and this is really coming off the heels of the Greninja starting to move, Twilight, starting to have a little bit of spark, a little bit of life. So then we get to Surging, and Surging was the November set. And quite honestly, the 630 boxes is quite low in hindsight. But if you look at it here, it's like, okay, well, Twilight was good. It's starting to move. Stellar's kind of taking a step back at this point in time. So do we order it? Do we not order it? And 30 days pre-release, Surging Sparks was $100, $110 a box. So we can see what happened when we went to Journey, and obviously you have a 4-month time period in here. Everybody and their brother was buying this. And again, this is only TCG Player data. So everybody and their brother was buying Journey together. And, quite honestly, if you go back here, why buy it on TCG Player? You can buy it at your local shop, probably get it cheaper because your local shop's not paying the 13-14% rip. But you look at Journey, was difficult to get. Everything was super allocated, and then all of a sudden you have almost 5,100 boxes selling, and this is over a month before release date. And then you move to Destined, and Journey Together was selling for 180, 200, 225. So big dollars and a big quantity of product moving. But then with Destined, we took a step back again. And part of this is you can't really compare the two because the price of Destined is a little bit higher. But if you compare both of these to just the nominal dollar values here, they crush them. They absolutely annihilate them. But again, I don't want to focus on the gross dollars spent. I want to focus on the number of units removed from the market, because ultimately that's what's interesting in supply and demand. It doesn't matter what the item costs. It matters how much supply is out there and obviously how much demand. So Destined has taken a pretty sizable step back. And I don't know if this is because people have gone to their local game store or they've pre-ordered elsewhere. My guess is with the hype for Journey, people have just pre-ordered super early with some of the cheaper sites as opposed to waiting for TCG Player. You get better pricing. You have a little bit of a more secure, I shouldn't say more secure, that's probably the wrong term. But you're dealing with folks that theoretically you've dealt with before, maybe not. So I think the step back is I think it's a little bit related to the price point being up, a little bit of skepticism, but I think this really shows that the increased price is forcing people off the TCG Player platform and to other websites to buy the product. So let's move to minus 29. And this is where it gets really interesting. So you see Temporal had a relatively big push in the last 30 days to pre-release. Twilight, just the bottom, absolute bottom of the market. Nobody wanted it. Now, Stellar took a step up because, again, you have a little bit of life. But look at Surging. Surging was absolutely going nuts here compared to the rest of these sets, because this is where the boxes really went from $100, $110 to $150, $160 going into release date. You had the butt Pikachu come out, and I think the first one was graded, and you had like the two different shill auctions that were going up to like $500,000, and it was just absolute insanity. And then you go to Journey and you take a step back because a lot of these folks ordered super early on, as we saw from the last graph. So you get to Destined. So Destined is up from 30 plus days out. And again, there's still 10 days remaining. So I am relatively certain that this number is probably going to pass Journey together. But in total, I don't think it is. And let's go to the total pre-release. So this is the total pre-release sales here. So you can see Twilight. Now, this makes a lot more sense. So before we looked at the timing and some of the psychology around it, but this is just gross sales, full stop. So Twilight, absolutely dead. And why? Hold on. I think I didn't pull Temporal. Let me pull Temporal because I think this one's interesting. Let's just bring this guy over here. You can forgive my color scheme. There we go. So Temporal, we're still in a little bit of decline from the bottom of the bear market. So you have 4,100 boxes. You go to Twilight and you're at 3,200 boxes. I mean, you're taking a 20% haircut. So then you go back to Stellar. Stellar is swinging in the other direction. It's up above Temporal. You go to Surging. Now, all of a sudden, Surging, big number. But if you remember, you go to minus 30 plus, only 630 boxes. So it was really that last month up into up until release where this number took off. And then you look at Journey Together, absolutely through the roof with 8,300 sales. But this is the opposite. 5,000 of those were more than a month old, and then it slowed down getting into release. So now we're sitting at Destined Rivals, and Destined Rivals is 2.5 times the price point of Temporal, Twilight, Stellar, and really half of this for Surging, the lower volume half. But with 10 days left, we're clearly going to pass Temporal, Twilight, Stellar. I'm not sure we're going to pass Surging. We're certainly not going to pass Journey Together. But again, I think what's interesting is with the print runs being similar to all three of these sets, the price point kind of tells me that either there's a lot of product on the market because the sell-through rate isn't as good as what it was with Journey or Surging, or there's been a large number of people who have migrated off of the TCG Player platform, and they're placing pre-orders with some of your bigger stores. Your MVPs, your Fortune Fires, your P Football Pete's, things like that. The other thing, which is kind of a counterpoint to this, is a lot of those sites, unless you really, really ordered early on, like super early on, which quite honestly could explain why this number is so anemic, you're limited to 1 or 2 boxes with a lot of the websites because the allocations have just been I don't want to say brutal, but at a big imbalance to what the demand is for the items. So I guess in summary, it's probably too early to tell if I don't want to say this is a warning sign because I don't think it's a fair statement. But if this is a function of people just pre-ordering early before it's listed on TCG Player, if people they're just not ordering off TCG Player, or if it's a function of the price point being way too high and less volume moving. I think I know when we ran our sale, we blew through our booster boxes in 25 minutes. Everybody else, as far as I know, these things are blowing out left and right. So I don't think it's a demand issue. I don't think I think it's more the fact that people have migrated off the system, or off of the platform, they pre-ordered, and the the collateral damage is actually the TCG Player platform, because they're only getting pre-orders up, 45 to 50 days beforehand. So I wanted to look at this. I wasn't sure what it was going to tell me. It's super interesting. But on the flip side, if the sales really are down because the price point of the product's so high, there's theoretically going to be much less supply of the singles out there. So the single should hold a better price, which is going to prop up the price of the booster boxes. I don't believe that's the case. In my mind, conceptually, the sales just went somewhere else. And quite honestly, the sales are probably going to end up greater than Journey Together in aggregate. Now, it's impossible to prove, because we have no idea what the private sales are. But again, judging by how quickly this stuff is disappearing, um, yeah, I tend to think it's just the data's a little skewed, because people are pre-ordering off of TCG Player. So anyway, I want to lay the data out. I think it's super interesting. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks with single prices and pull rates, and then going into the September set with the Mega Charizard set. It's gonna be interesting. At least I think that's September. I don't know if it's definitive, but they're certainly not going to just do two pre-constructed battle decks for the English set. I mean, that would just be insanely suicidal. But we'll see. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and have a good night.